Hi everyone. Look, for a little while now I've been wanting to do some kind of one-off videos on just things that I'm interested in, as opposed to, the heavy focus I've had on talking about expeditions and climbing, mountaineering, all of these things. So yeah, I wanted to do a few one-off things, bits and pieces of just stuff that interests me and a bit of information on those. I'll be moving space soon, so I'll be filming in different houses and stuff, which will be good. Still setting all that up at the moment. So what I wanted to talk about today with this video is ear stretchers or gauges. Anyone who knows me face to face knows that I have stretched ears. So I've always loved the look and the concept of stretched ears and tattoos and long hair. It's just, I don't know why, I've just always liked that look. Now, my only piercing, and I love piercings in general, but personally my only piercings are my stretched ears. I've always considered getting the septum done, so the middle and nose. But when looking into the meanings behind it traditionally, for now at least, I decided against it and decided that no, I was just going to stick with the stretched ears. The Mayan, Central American, South American, and then the island and island mountain traditions. For them, well, for the Mayans, stretching was a little bit a sign of status, depending what your ears were adorned with. If you're from a very rich royal family, your ears would be, gold and precious metals or jewels and things that would be put in the stretchers, whereas the layperson would just have metal or things. So I've never really gone with that one. I've always liked the idea, and a lot of the, Central America, looking away from the mines, but Central America, South America, the island traditions, and the mountain island traditions, they view it as a symbol of life experience and wisdom, as it is a very when done properly and safely, it's a very long process. So people, the bigger that your ears get, sort of the older you are and the more that you're seen as kind of an elder or have lived life experience. I'm not saying at all that I know it all, or that I get things right, or that I don't mess things up and make mistakes, or whatever. But I've always really liked that idea of the slow progression of stretching, that it does come with life experience. And, I started at a late age. I've always loved the concept of stretching, and friends in high school, great, when we were like 16, 17, they were already at like 20 millimeters in their ears. And then I've had friends that, similar experience. They started out way too early. They tried to do it way too quickly, and they completely blew their ears out, meaning that they actually broke their lobes apart by trying to force that neck sizes in way too soon. So I found it's a very slow progression. When I had mine done, one of the reasons that I started stretching at 22 years old. And I did this because no shops in Brisbane I knew of I really trusted. But I was in Christchurch for an extended period of time, New Zealand, and there was a shop there that does tattoos and piercings that I trusted a lot. So I decided, it was about my 22nd birthday, as a birthday present to myself, I was going to get my ears done, and start that process and that progress. By that time, I already had a bunch of tattoos, but I didn't have any piercings whatsoever, so I decided it was time to start the stretching process at my 22nd birthday. I also did this is a little bit off topic, but I also did a suspension hanging with these people. They run piercing tattoo shop and things, so the hook these big hooks through different parts of your flesh in the back or in the front or wherever, and then you're suspended up in the air with these hooks kind of evenly distributing the weight so that nothing rips. That was an incredible that was something that I will never forget. It was an astounding experience. It hurt as the hooks were put in, but when I was actually hanging, it didn't hurt. It was an amazing experience. And I've done videos on shamanism and little bits of spiritual stuff that I work with a lot. And that was one of the reasons I did this, is because it felt like it was a spiritual experience, for lack of better terms or words. I don't want to get into that too much. Just I did that with those guys as well within that same sort of 6-month period. So I trusted them a lot, and they punched my ears, knowing that I wanted to go straight into stretching. They did what we call punching the ears. Instead of just piercing, they actually punched a hole, like paper punched, and punching a bit of skin out. So it was at a slightly bigger size. So when people normally put a piercing in, or get their ears pierced or whatever and put a piercing in, normally that size, so normal piercing gauge sizes are at about 1 millimeter. I had my ears punched at about 1.6 millimeters to begin with, and then they put jewelry straight in, and basically I could clean that stuff, but I couldn't take them out for 6 weeks because the punch needed to heal fully, because it's an open hole in your ear that they've just put complete sterile surgical steel earrings through. So you need to wait about at least 6 weeks before that heals, and you can even take those out and put different jewelry in at the same size. So as I said, some cultures it was a sign of status. The Buddha, very iconically, had his ears pierced and punched and gauged. But when he renounced material life, he took them out because it was, for him and for them, it was a sign of material wealth and status. So when he gave up all material objects to begin his spiritual path as the Buddha, the first Buddha, he took them out, and he still has, in a lot of iconography, has the hanging earlobes, but he took his jewelry out when he threw away all material possessions. So it has that background, but I really like the background of the life experience, the slow progress, wisdom, and just slowly. I found about these days at least 6 months, probably 12 months before I upsize. I kind of I never really intend to, but sometimes after about a year, my jewellery will just start falling out naturally because my lobes have gotten used to it and kind of extended. And I don't really want my ears jewellery falling out all the time when I'm doing stuff. When I'm skating, riding bikes, climbing, da-da-da-da. I don't want those to be falling out. I've always got a backup pair. But after about 12 months, sometimes they start to kind of pop out, and it's like, oh, okay, I can upsize now. Of course, I still need to at times fit a climbing helmet over for recreation and for work. So it's getting to a point where I either have to stop upsizing or take them out when I'm wearing a helmet, because they're just getting a bit too big to fit around helmet straps. So I started at 1.6 millimeters. I am now at 28 millimeters in size of my gauges. These are, you can see, so these are some very small gauges. They almost look like cigarette filters. So these are small wooden gauges, some small metal gauges. So, you know, you can see that the progress is, oh yeah, two different sizes of stone gauges, one slightly bigger than the other, and then another jump up. These ones, you know, a bit of a jump up really. And we've got these black silicon ones as another sort of jump up, sort of, yep, bit of a. And you know, this was the last size I was at before I upped to, I think that was 25, and they were falling out, so I went up to 28, which was just the next size up in jewellery. So that's sort of showing how slow the progress is, and that, you know, you start with things that are yay small, and then, you know, you start going bigger. Mine are just kind of big enough that I can just kind of get, I guess, 2 fingers through the gauge, just to give you a vague idea of size of what 28 actually looks like. So about 2 fingers. Yeah, so I've always loved it, and this might be a long, boring video for a lot of people. But I feel like anyone watching this who is interested in, you know, tattoos, piercings, any form of sort of body modification, you know, whatever, that, I don't know, the history behind these things, you know, you might find it interesting, and just the topic and the way that it works and everything. You know, I feel like there's people out there that I know that would find this stuff interesting. So I just wanted to share a bit of history behind stretching, why I do it, why I like it, when I started, where I'm at now, showing that slow progress. I don't really have an end goal. I'm going to keep going as long as my lobes keep expanding. I'll keep going, and eventually I'll just have to take them out whenever I'm wearing a helmet, and that's fine. I can just pop them back in at the end of the day. Yeah, so just a bit of information on stretching. I'm probably going to do a few more videos like this on just random stuff that I'm interested in. Doing one on tattoos would be cool. I might try and do that. I'm going to say this, if she watches it'll be interesting. I might try and do one with my friend Rachel around tattooing. Yeah, with different friends who are tattoo artists, and talk about tattooing potentially with them. That could be cool, because that's a big subject and a long subject. So yeah, thank you for watching. A little bit on piercing, a little bit on stretches, history, meaning, why I do it, my progress through what I've found, bit of a look at the different stretches that I've used over time to get where I'm at. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I will do another video pretty soon at some point. Bye.